Boxingego here. If you like this video, make sure you hit the like button and also subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon on the top of your screen to get notified when the latest new content drops. What up, fight world? It's your boy Ego and I'm back with some more boxing. Make sure you smash the like button, also subscribe to the channel for the latest and greatest in boxing. If you want to become part of the gang notification gang, please hit that bell icon. Shout out to the super chats, channel donations, the Venmo, and the Patreon family. We are working. Now, UFC's Dana White, president, had some interesting things to say. Dana White did an interview on a podcast, Mike Swick, and I'm going to quote what he said and just kind of give my thoughts. Dana White says, obviously, we're taking a look at it and I'm interested. I'm not saying I'm going to come in and start running boxing, but I'm interested in dipping my toes in the water and maybe signing a few fighters and seeing what we can do. I'm interested in doing some stuff in boxing next year, right? And he also elaborated, said, I don't want any more of that bullshit. If you're going to box, box. If you're going to do MMA, MMA. So he's saying basically, I'm done with the Mayweather-McGregor hybrid shit. Either you're an MMA fighter or you're a boxer, but he wants to dabble and see if he can, you know, generate some money in the arena of the boxing world. Now, Bob Arum recently did an interview with Michael Woods, and he says that he believes that the UFC is struggling and Dana White is desperate, right? I want to give my thoughts. First of all, shout out to Dana White. Seems like a pretty solid dude. I mean, he's a promoter. The way the UFC is set up, they make great fights often because they control all the fighters. You know what I mean? I think this could be good. See, the thing with me is when Al Heyman introduced Premier Boxing Champs, I never hate on it because if it can elevate and catapult boxing, then I'm all for it. So I really have to see what Dana White is talking about. Like he says, he wants to dip his toes in the water. He's not going to probably like invest billions of dollars into boxing with, you know what I mean, and just go all in, put all the chips in. So, you know what I mean, he'll probably get his feet wet, try to get a little stable, maybe some fighters who are free agents. So I'm open to it. I'm interested to see what he can do. I will tell you this, when I covered Mayweather-McGregor in Las Vegas, I talked to, it was weird because normally when I cover fights, like I'll be in New York this week for the Deontay Wilder fight. Normally when I cover fights, it's you see the routine guys from boxing. But that particular Mayweather-McGregor fight week, there were people that I had never even seen, never heard of. And that's because they were, for the most part, MMA journalists, right? UFC, they cover the UFC. But since it was Conor McGregor and Floyd, it was the hybrid. So you had not just boxing journalists. So I was very fortunate to get approved for that particular situation because there's a lot of people that got turned away for Mayweather-McGregor and they couldn't actually cover the fight because not only did you have boxing journalists applying, you had MMA guys. And, you know, I mean, there's only so much space and room and badges and lanyards and credentials that they're going to give out. But anyway, on that fight week, I remember I was talking to someone at the post-fight presser for Mayweather-McGregor, and the UFC guys, some of them were complaining. There's a guy, and I could tell by how his camera, because I do the video editing stuff, he had a nice camera, a nice setup, and you could tell he had worked several UFC fights. And he was telling me that basically the Mayweather-McGregor fight was a shit show the whole week compared to how the UFC handles stuff. Me, I've never covered a UFC fight, so I can't corroborate that. You know what I mean? I can't tell if he's being biased, and that's just what he personally prefers. But he's saying everything. He said the UFC really takes care of the media. He says things like the food, they get like top-notch catering. He says Mayweather-McGregor, you know what I mean? They had decent food, but he says when the UFC does it, when they have a big fight, they got top-notch catering and they really take care of it. Everything's structured, everything's organized. So I think it could be interesting. I really do. I think Dana White also, he got his feet wet kind of with the Mayweather-McGregor, and he's seen that there's money to be made. I mean, even though that was a hybrid deal, he's seen the turnout, he's seen boxing fans, he's seen, you know what I mean, what it was like to contact the venue and secure the T-Mo. He got to see a little bit of the boxing process with Leonard Ellerby and stuff like that. So he probably feels like there's some money in there. You know what I mean? And him and Bob Arum don't really get along. So it's also the opportunity to kind of take a jab at someone you don't like. Because Al Heyman, people forget this, Al Heyman is an advisor, so he still needs promoters. So Dana White, I mean, theoretically, I don't know this for a fact, but theoretically, if Dana White / the UFC somehow crossed over into the boxing arena, they might even be able to work with Al Heyman. You know what I'm saying? And I think that would be a good idea if it all works, if they can, because Al Heyman already has a stable. So just like when Al Heyman has a fight like this week, Deontay Wilder, Lou DiBella is the promoter who him and his team, DiBella Entertainment, they're kind of putting this all together. So maybe something like that could happen with Dana White and Heyman. Again, I don't know all the parameters. I don't know if the UFC would come in completely independent and get their own stable and completely their own events. But like I said, I'm open to it. It's nothing concrete or set in stone, but the possibilities could be good for boxing. Dana White, he's been around the business. He's been around the Mayweathers. Obviously, he knows how to put together weigh-ins. And from the guy's testimony on Fight Week, he was saying they're very organized and structured. Another thing I do like about the UFC, and I've always said this, is they do a great job with marketing their big cards. Now, I feel like they haven't had that great of a year this year, but last year was really a good year for them. And if you look at like UFC 199 or the return of Ronda Rousey, UFC 205 in New York, they did a great job of, you know what I mean, just making these trailers with the return of Brock Lesnar, you know what I'm saying, and making people excited for it with the full score and soundtrack, good editing. Another thing I like the UFC does is the UFC embedded. You know what I mean? They take webisodes and they do a real good job, high quality production, good pacing, you know what I mean? And it gives you insight before the fight. And I think boxing has kind of suffered. Like, you know what I mean? There's been great fight like Charlo Lubin. I would have liked to see like a 4 or 5 part embedded series. And I don't think it would cost that much money to make something like that. You know what I mean? Because Lubin wasn't like a household name and Charlo's still building his brand. So we just need to do those things to promote boxing and become one of the top 3 sports. Let me know what you guys think. Would Dana White coming into boxing, would it mess up boxing? Would it stay the same? Would it improve boxing? Leave your comments in the comment section. Make sure you smash the like button as always. Hate, comment, and subscribe. Till next video is Ego signing off. So if you enjoyed this video and want more content like this on the channel, you can show your appreciation by going to the PayPal donate button or the YouTube support button. And you can donate any amount that you feel is equivalent to the value of this video. Much more to come. Thank you guys for your support. Boxingego, the future of boxing.